One of the most disturbing realities in the trucking world across the United States is something known as highway serial killers. And this is not a conspiracy theory or internet myth. It's based on real investigations that have uncovered hundreds of bodies found along major interstate highways over the years. What makes this especially unsettling is the pattern. Many of these cases point toward offenders who rely on constant mobility, particularly long-haul truck drivers who spend most of their lives on the road. These individuals take advantage of their ability to cross multiple state lines in a short amount of time, making it incredibly difficult for law enforcement agencies to track movements or connect cases. Victims are often picked up from rest stops, truck stops, or roadside areas, then transported far from where they were last seen before being killed and discarded. Because different jurisdictions handle different parts of the highway system, these crimes often remain disconnected, allowing offenders to operate for years without being identified. The open road, which most people see as freedom, becomes a system where crimes can repeat unnoticed. The trucking profession offers a unique and dangerous advantage for individuals with criminal intent, mainly because of how unpredictable and wide-ranging the job is. A long-haul driver can travel through several states, or even across the country within just a few days, all without raising suspicion, because that's exactly what the job requires. This constant movement creates a major challenge for investigators trying to establish patterns or timelines. In many of these cases, there is no prior relationship between the offender and the victim. The interaction may last only a few minutes at a rest stop or gas station before the victim disappears. When someone is reported missing, the investigation typically focuses on the last known location, which may be hundreds of miles away from where the actual crime took place. This disconnect creates massive gaps in the investigative process. It allows offenders to exploit the system, repeating similar crimes over time while avoiding detection, simply by continuing to move forward along the highway. Some of the most extreme cases reveal how trucks themselves have been transformed into tools of confinement and control. In at least one investigation, authorities discovered that a trailer had been deliberately modified to function as a hidden holding area where victims could be restrained and abused. This was not an impulsive act. It showed planning, preparation, and the use of the truck as a mobile crime scene. Because trailers are large, enclosed, and rarely inspected thoroughly during routine stops, they offer a level of concealment that is difficult to detect from the outside. Offenders can transport victims across long distances without drawing attention, passing through multiple jurisdictions without interruption. Inside that confined space, victims are completely cut off from the outside world, with no way to call for help or escape. The realization that something so ordinary, a commercial truck on a highway, can hide something so disturbing underneath its surface is what makes this scenario particularly chilling and hard to ignore. There are documented accounts from truck drivers who have woken up after a night's rest to find police surrounding their vehicle, only to discover that a body had been found nearby. In many of these situations, the driver had no awareness that anything had happened while they were asleep inside their cab. Offenders intentionally use truck parking areas as dumping sites because they are busy, constantly changing environments where vehicles come and go at all hours. This makes it easy to leave a body without attracting attention or being remembered. As a result, completely innocent drivers can unknowingly park just feet away from a crime scene, becoming accidental witnesses without even realizing it. The randomness of these situations adds another layer of unease. There's no clear warning, no obvious sign that something is wrong. It highlights how easily serious crimes can be hidden within environments that appear routine and harmless on the surface. Rest areas and truck stops are designed to provide safety and relief for drivers who spend long hours on the road. But in reality, they often become high-risk environments. These locations are typically open with minimal surveillance and a constant flow of unfamiliar people. Many individuals who pass through are anonymous, staying only briefly before moving on. This creates an ideal situation for offenders looking to avoid identification. Victims are often selected from vulnerable groups, including hitchhikers or people seeking a ride to their next destination. Offenders may approach in a friendly or helpful manner, offering assistance or transportation, only for the situation to turn dangerous once the victim is isolated. Because interactions in these areas are short and often undocumented, there are rarely reliable witnesses who can provide useful information. This combination of anonymity, mobility, and limited oversight turns what should be a safe resting point into one of the most dangerous places along the highway. Another disturbing tactic reported by drivers involves individuals impersonating law enforcement officers. Some truckers have described being pulled over by vehicles equipped with flashing lights that closely resemble official patrol cars. At first glance, everything appears legitimate, but once the interaction begins, inconsistencies start to appear. The person may lack proper identification, behave outside standard procedures, or ask unusual questions. On isolated stretches of highway, drivers often feel they have no choice but to comply, especially when confronted with what appears to be authority. This creates a vulnerable situation where the offender can take advantage of the driver without immediate risk of interruption. In remote areas, help may be miles away, and by the time something feels wrong, it may already be too late to react safely. This tactic is particularly effective because it exploits trust in authority, turning something meant to provide safety into a potential threat. Attempted break-ins while drivers are sleeping inside their trucks are not rare. They are a regular concern, especially in isolated or poorly lit areas. Many drivers report waking up to the sound of door handles being tested, footsteps moving around the vehicle, or even faint tapping on the cab windows. In these moments, the driver is alone with limited visibility and no immediate backup. The intent behind these actions is often theft, targeting valuable cargo or personal belongings, but the uncertainty makes the situation far more intense. The driver has to make a quick decision, stay inside and remain silent, or confront whatever is outside without knowing who or what they're dealing with. Darkness amplifies every sound, turning minor noises into potential threats. This creates a constant underlying tension, where even rest is never completely safe, and every stop carries a degree of risk. Across parts of Europe, particularly in the UK, cargo theft has evolved into a highly organized and aggressive form of crime. Criminal groups have developed methods that allow them to access goods without fully stopping the vehicle. In some cases, they operate while the truck is moving slowly, using tools to slice open the sides of a trailer and remove cargo quickly before disappearing. This level of coordination suggests planning, teamwork, and experience. Drivers may continue their route completely unaware that anything has happened until they stop and inspect their load, only to discover missing goods. The financial impact of these thefts is significant, affecting both companies and drivers, and often involving high-value shipments. These are not random acts. They are targeted operations carried out by networks that understand the system and exploit its weaknesses. It shows that the dangers of the road extend beyond individual threats into organized criminal activity. In addition to physical dangers, many drivers report experiences that are difficult to explain using logic alone. One of the most commonly described incidents involves hearing knocking or movement coming from inside the trailer while driving at highway speeds. Under normal circumstances, this should be impossible. Trailers are secured, sealed, and empty of any human presence. Yet the sounds are often described as deliberate and consistent, not random or mechanical. Some drivers choose to pull over and check, expecting to find a loose object or mechanical issue, but instead find nothing out of place. While these experiences are sometimes attributed to fatigue, stress, or auditory illusions, they feel very real in the moment. The isolation of long-distance driving combined with long hours and minimal human interaction can amplify these sensations, creating moments that blur the line between reality and perception. CB radio has long been a lifeline for truck drivers, allowing them to communicate, share updates, and stay connected while on the road. However, there are instances where this tool becomes a source of unease rather than comfort. Some drivers report hearing sudden transmissions from unknown voices that interrupt normal communication. These voices may speak in a calm but unsettling tone, sometimes making claims about criminal activity or issuing vague threats. Because CB radio operates on open channels and is not always traceable, identifying the source of these transmissions is often impossible. In certain cases, the details shared sound too specific to dismiss as random interference or jokes. This unpredictability leads some drivers to limit or completely avoid using their radios, especially during nighttime hours. What is meant to provide connection and safety can instead become another reminder of how uncertain and exposed life on the road can be.